Hello, and welcome to What is Crypto? I'm Matt, and this is Crypto. Today I'm going to be talking to you about KASPA, ticker signal KAS. I'll be having a little bit of a look at KASPA's chart, also the chart of Bitcoin with the halving, and I'll have a little bit of a look at Bitcoin dominance post-halving. So if that sounds good to you, don't forget to stick around to the end of the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it. Alrighty, so KASPA, having a look at KASPA, love the price entry that we're getting at the moment. Now with KASPA, we've pretty much been on a constant uptrend over the course of its existence. We have been having these pullbacks, however, the trend is still up and to the right, which is what we like to see. Having a look at entry prices, I think you could do a lot worse than today's entry, sitting around the 11.2 cents. I've got very full bags of KASPA, but I do have some buy orders in set at around the 10.5 cents, just in case we do wick down. We could go lower, but I really don't see us getting below 9.5 cents unless something pretty drastic happens with Bitcoin. So as you know, it's the Bitcoin halving today. Now this often brings volatility with Bitcoin, and consequently it brings volatility with all of the altcoins. If you're not familiar, Bitcoin usually moves first. It's the biggest of all the cryptocurrencies. And then if Bitcoin moves down, all of the cryptocurrencies in general will move down, and if Bitcoin moves up, all of the cryptocurrencies in general will move up. The higher market cap you have, the less you will move up if Bitcoin moves up, but the less you will also move down if Bitcoin moves down. For example, Solana, one of the biggest altcoins, if Bitcoin moves up 10%, Solana might move up 15%. And if Bitcoin moves down 10%, Solana might move down 15, 20%. Now, the lower market cap you go down, the more impact the price of Bitcoin in general has on that altcoin. So anyway, these are some levels that I'm looking at with Bitcoin. I'm looking at possible pullbacks down to the 52K region. I don't think we're hitting 52. I think if we do get a massive flush out, I'd love to see the 57 mark hit, as I think that would be a massive discount on all the cryptocurrencies. If you look at the Bitcoin halving with all of these vertical yellow lines marking the Bitcoin halving events, if you have a look and you look at the price 3, 6, 12, and 18 months after the halving, it's always been significantly higher. Now, although this does look a little bit messy on the chart, I've pulled it up in a document for your ease of viewing. So in 2012, this is the price 3, 6, 12, and 18 months after the halving. This is how much the price of Bitcoin increased. 2016, these are the amounts that the price of Bitcoin increased after the halving. And in 2020, these are the increases that Bitcoin increased after the halving. So 2012, 600, 611, 5,567%, 4,223% in 2016, 30% at 3 months, 108% at 6 months, 728% at 12 months, 1,663% at 18 months, and finally, in the most recent cycle in 2020, 3 months after the halving, there was a 17.8% increase, a 210% increase at 6 months, 269% increase at 12 months, and 411% increase at 18 months after the halving. Now, if we look at when the peaks were after the halving, we can see that the peaks have always either been at 10 months or 16 months after the Bitcoin halving. Now, you can have a look at your own charts, but in essence, that's what I've drawn up here, marking out every 3, 6, 12, and 18 months, and then also finding the months until cycle top. What we can also notice is that the months of the halving in 2016 and in 2020 have been red, which means that they finished the month at a lower price than they started the month. We can also see that this is currently the case and very much expected to be the case for the month that we're in, which is the Bitcoin halving, which should occur over the next hour, depending on what time you are watching. So I'm not too concerned that we are in a bit of a pullback at the moment. And I'm actually celebrating because you get some amazing entries into some of your highest conviction plays like KASPA. If you look at the price of KASPA at the moment at 11.3 cents, it's currently on a 40% discount. And although I do have some buy orders set at the 10.5 cent mark in case we do wick down further, I do think that the price at the moment is pretty good as we are coming up to altcoin season. And if you don't know what altcoin season is where altcoins tend to outperform Bitcoin and altcoins have parabolic price growth. Bitcoin also has a good amount of price growth, but altcoins begin to significantly outperform Bitcoin. So how we can see this is to have a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. And if we chart it up with also adding the Bitcoin halvings, we can notice a pretty cool pattern. So looking at the 2016 halving, we noticed that Bitcoin dominance decreased quite significantly in the coming months after the Bitcoin halving. Now, what does that mean? Well, when Bitcoin dominance decreases, that means that altcoin dominance is increasing. So although the price of Bitcoin was going up in this period of time, as this was our 2017 bull run, the price of altcoins were outpacing Bitcoin. And you can see that down here when Bitcoin dominance was at its all-time low, that really marked the end of the bull run. And then you have an increase in Bitcoin dominance right up until around the halving, where you can see that Bitcoin dominance once again starts to decrease. We did have this little abnormality here, but like all charts, you're always going to have some outliers. The general trend is after the halving, Bitcoin dominance decreases over the next few months, and that altcoin dominance increases. So another thing I think it's good to look at, I won't go through it today, but you can look at a couple of the big layer ones from last cycle, Solana and Cardano, and you can chart them and their Bitcoin halvings. What is interesting to note in those charts is that similarly to this chart, in the few months after the Bitcoin halving, they then began to have a significant price growth to the upside as Bitcoin dominance fell down. Now, I think Casper is going to be one of the leading performers this cycle. I think it's got the narrative. I think there is so much economic turmoil in the world, and people are starting to believe in Bitcoin. People are realizing that Bitcoin is that digital gold, that mass adopted global currency. However, it's a little bit too scarce to be spending on the daily. Now, I think they're going to be looking for that digital silver, and when you look at its competitors, Litecoin has been doing minimal. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision is backed by a man that has been proven not to be Satoshi Nakamoto in Craig Wright, but I won't go into that one too much more. And then I think you can look down the rung at KASPA, which still has a relatively small market cap at 2.5 billion, but a big enough market cap to be in the top 50 so that it does generate some actual interest. I think if KASPA can continue to develop and have smart contract integration over the next few years, it's going to absolutely rip it. But what I do think is important to note is that I don't think that KASPA will rely on that smart contract development on top of KASPA. I think a lot of people in the community are in KASPA as that digital silver. And I think a lot of people are just really excited about that opportunity to invest in a Bitcoin-esque project. Now, if you haven't looked into KASPA, I won't do too much of a deep dive into it now, but look into the creator of KASPA, Jonathan Sompolinsky. If you don't know about him, he was mentioned in the Ethereum white paper for his Ghost protocol. Very, very smart man. He's also been in the crypto space for a long time. The team is building, they're doing super well, and Rust is looking super promising. If you don't know about Rust, there are lots of videos explaining it, but do know it's the language used to write a lot of the Solana code. Personally, what I'm expecting for KASPA over the next few months largely depends on Bitcoin. So having a look at the Bitcoin chart, if we break below this $61,000 mark, our next rung down for me is around the 59K mark, then the 57K mark, then the 55K mark, and then the 52.7 mark. Now, I don't think we get down this low, and quite frankly, I'd be a little surprised if we broke down below 57,000, but I'm still prepared for that. And note that crypto is an incredibly volatile market, and sometimes we do have flash crashes. But looking at KASPA, we're getting a great discount of about 40%, and if the price goes up or down, I think it's got a lot to do with the price of Bitcoin. We also might have some information coming out about the war that causes large wicks to the downside. I don't think we're going to break below the 9.6 cent mark. However, if Bitcoin breaks below the 55K mark, then that is a possibility. Personally, I'm continuing to accumulate at this level with a big interest in the level around the 10.5 cents.
In summary, will the price go up of KASPA or will the price go down? Well, largely depending on Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised to see us wick down into the 10-cent mark, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see us push up. Looking at past data, we can see that historically 3, 6, 12 and 18 months after the Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin's price has increased and altcoins have also outperformed Bitcoin, especially after that 3-month mark. What I can take from this, and what you might be able to take from this, is that if KASPA is successful this bull run, which I think it personally will be, but I'll leave that one up to you. So if KASPA is successful, then it will likely outperform Bitcoin. And if it outperforms Bitcoin as Bitcoin dominance falls and altcoin season begins, then it will likely have some exponential price growth. Now, I think for this cycle, anywhere between between that $2 mark to the $5 mark, I think is probably a fair estimate. There are a lot of things to consider, however, and yes, we could get some more downside short term, but I think long term and even somewhat short term, in about 6 months time, we won't be seeing these prices of Casper again. I think although it could go down in the short term, you are running out of time to buy Casper under 12 cents. And I really think that we probably won't ever see Casper under 12 cents again. I think we'll go up to somewhere maybe between the $2 to $5 mark this bull run, and where we come down to over the next bear market, I'm unsure, but I don't think it will be as low as 12 cents. So what I'm taking from the charts is that if you're bullish on Casper, then pack your bags. If you're not bullish on Casper, well, hey, that's fine. Not every cryptocurrency can be for everyone. But me personally, I'm accumulating Casper. I like these entry prices and I'm bullish on the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Cheers, legends. Catch you in the next one.